All right, welcome to this explainer, where we are diving into a really fascinating study. It's all about one of the biggest questions in education right now: what on earth do we do with AI in the classroom?
So this is the big question, isn't it? Is AI a brilliant tutor or just the ultimate cheat sheet? I mean, on one hand, you've got this incredible promise of a personalized learning revolution. But on the other, there's this very real fear that it just becomes a crunch, something that stops actual learning from happening. And that tension is exactly what one researcher decided to investigate.
And our story starts in a very specific place, a digital circuits course. Now, this isn't just any class. It's a foundational course, the kind that's meant to build a student's core logic and systematic thinking. But the professor started noticing something, well, worrying. The students just seemed less motivated, and it felt like their critical thinking skills were kind of fading.
Okay, but before we get into the problems, let's just take a second to look at the incredible potential here. I mean, what can AI actually bring to the table? Why is everyone so excited about it in the first place?
Well, the potential is just massive. We're talking about AI creating a totally unique learning path for every single student. Imagine getting instant feedback on a really tough problem, or being able to run these complex simulations right on your laptop. It could be a total game changer for teachers, and it gives students this amazing tool to explore new ideas and get ready for the tech-heavy jobs of the future.
But, and it's a big but, alongside all that amazing promise, the researchers saw a pretty significant dark side. A real danger that comes from having perfect, instant answers right at your fingertips with absolutely no guardrails.
And this quote right here, it just nails the whole problem. This was the giant red flag. Students were handing in homework with these flawless, perfectly written answers. But the second the instructor asked him, "Hey, can you explain the logic here?" Crickets. They were completely stumped. The output looked perfect, but the understanding, it just wasn't there. So it all boils down to this fundamental conflict, which this table lays out so well. You see it, right? For every incredible opportunity on the left, personalized learning, instant feedback, there's a really serious challenge on the right. Declining motivation, loss of critical thinking, you name it. It's a real tightrope for educators to walk.
So this observation led the educator to do something pretty cool. They turned their own digital circuits course into a real-world laboratory. They set up this simple but really powerful experiment, and they split the semester into two completely different phases just to see what would happen.
Here's how the experiment worked. The first half of the course, everything before the midterm, there was no official rule on AI. This led to what the researcher called covert use. Basically, students were using it secretly. Then, after the midterm, the rules flipped. AI was officially allowed, but, and this is key, only under a guided use model with very specific rules.
And the results? Honestly, it was like night and day. In that first, unmonitored phase, you saw exactly what you'd expect. Hollow answers, students' critical thinking skills just weren't developing. But in the guided phase, students showed a much, much deeper understanding of the concepts. And here's the crazy part. Their collaboration and social interaction actually went up.
The success of this experiment wasn't just a win for one classroom. It was bigger than that. It actually led to the creation of a whole new framework for thinking about technology in education, a way to get the best of both worlds.
They called it the AI-Humanistic model. And, the name really says it all, doesn't it? The point isn't to choose between AI tools and human skills. It's about integrating them. It's about using the power of technology to actually strengthen the things that make us human: critical thinking, teamwork, and real connection.
So what does this actually look like in a classroom? Well, it's a pretty clear three-step process. Step one is exploration. Students can totally use AI to brainstorm and get some initial ideas on the table. But then comes step two, verification. And this is the most important part. Students have to manually check and justify the answers the AI spits out. They have to prove they get the logic. And finally, step three, collaboration. The whole thing is reinforced with group work, which makes students talk, discuss, and learn from each other.
Okay, so this sounds like a really promising model, right? But what does one successful experiment in a single digital circuits class really mean for the future of education as a whole?
Now, it's super important to see this as a starting point, not the final answer. The researchers themselves are really clear. This model needs to be tested in a lot more courses and different subjects. But what it has done is completely change the conversation. We're finally moving away from should we ban AI and starting to ask the much better question, how do we use it wisely?
And really, that's the ultimate takeaway here. This whole thing isn't just about grades or one class. It's about figuring out the future relationship between humans and AI.
The challenge for all of us, for educators, for students, for everyone, is to build a world where technology serves our thinking, not replaces it. We need to create tools that make us smarter, not just shortcuts that let our own intelligence slowly fade away.